Hi guys. So today is my day 14 and I actually made it. 14 days. I came on here. I did a Facebook Live, except for 13. I did a video, but I made sure that I did a recording and I showed you a little bit about myself and my lifestyle, and I got real and I got raw and I broke down some big boundaries for me and exposed myself in ways that I didn't plan to do, but I showed up. So, my name is Kyanne. Today is my 14th day of my 14-day accountability challenge. And what I was supposed to do is pop on and do a Facebook Live every single day. And so today I decided what I wanted to talk about was just this journey, doing a 14-day challenge. I know a couple days ago, I think my 12th day, I talked to you guys a little bit about like what came up, what I didn't expect, what you could expect if you decided to do a 14-day challenge yourself. But really what came up for me today is what I learned in the process. And I really wanted to just share that with you guys, kind of walk you through this journey, because again, this wasn't planned. There was no true intent behind it. I got a random email on the day I was supposed to start. And I think it was like 4 or 5 o'clock when I was supposed to start doing it. So I just like jumped on and gave a quick introduction to let you know that I was gonna be accountable and that I was gonna show up. So what I wrote down for you guys is 3 of my biggest strengths that came up for me when I went through this process, kind of my pinnacle point as I was going through this entire experience, and then my weaknesses, like what vulnerabilities came up for me, what things really kind of just pushed me back and showed me the real raw me as I was going through this. And this one's for me. This one really is just my journey, and also to show you guys a reflection of me and how I show up. So my big one was choosing courage. So doing a Facebook Live takes a lot of courage. If it's not something that you normally do, you know, for me, I can talk about these things I love, things I'm passionate about in my treatment room with, you know, some of my clients. I can talk about it and share it at home, but it wasn't something that I like put on display for the rest of the world to see. So it took a lot of courage to just really show up. And then one, there's a part of me that's a little bit of an introvert. So coming on here and like using my personal evening time to like pop on and do a Facebook Live. So yeah, I will say choosing courage, and then like continuing to choose courage every single day, because there's different layers that come up. I looked up a quote by Brené Brown. That's really one that resonated with me. And it says, courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. Again, that's Brené Brown. So courage starts when you show up and you let yourself be seen. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to be a struggle for me. You know, I definitely have relationships over, I mean, everybody does, over years and time, and friends that know different layers and levels of you. They've seen you kind of younger years, young 20s, and they've kind of seen this evolution that's happened. And then I've got like my Des Moines tribe here that like totally gets me and knows how I vibe and knows this, you know, very reserved side of me. And so to put this out for everyone and put it out for new friends. I've made like over 300 new friends in the last 2 weeks just on Facebook, and the point of doing this process by just hashtags and people seeing things that I've done and like giving me feedback. So putting myself out in the world, having courage to be seen, and like showing up authentic and showing up me. So real and raw. That was my number one. Accepting discomfort. So yeah, I mean, I will tell you, some days flowed by. They were super easy. And there are other days where like I was fine, I got some topics down, and then like the couple minutes right before I pressed that live button, I would feel some anxiety. And so like accepting the fact that there's discomfort, accepting that fear is going to show up, And then everyone's probably heard this, like leaning into this discomfort. And I really did that every single time I pressed live. And I think that's just being true. Is like I had to physically lean into it and press the live, but also like that emotion of, man, I don't really know how this is going to flow out, or I don't really know how this is going to be seen. And knowing that this journey was really for me to kind of just expose myself, be truthful, show all elements of me, even if it's not something that someone has normally seen of me. So that was my step one. And from there, which that really showed up every single day, was choosing self-love. So if you guys have watched any of my videos that I've previously done in the past 14 days, you obviously know I am a self-love advocate. I have practiced massage for like 17 years. And so on my massage table, I cannot tell you how many times it shows up. Clients will come. It's really just a personal space for them, whether they're in the hustle and bustle of life and they finally have a chance to just slow down and realize how much they need it, or it's like gifted to them. So maybe an anniversary, a birthday gift, and we are dealing with issues of like self-worth and why don't you slow down and why don't you do these self-care practices for yourself. So this has been me in a treatment room one-on-one for like the past 15 some years. And so I've seen this pattern show up so many times, and walking that process, I've cultivated these self-care practices. One, because I give so much of myself to my clients. I show up and I carve out these practices that they can do for themselves at home to like find worth, to check in, to have different forms of meditation. So I've got this like arsenal of self-love and self-care things that I will use and I will remind people of, or I will give them these practices really authentically. Like it comes up and it's very organic, and these are practices that have come up through my experience of taking care of others. And then what shifted for me this year was just kind of that need to take care of myself. So I've really dove in on making sure that I do these practices myself, exposing myself, being vulnerable, doing Facebook Lives every single day for 14 days. And so choosing self-love has been a huge one. You know, I'm big on memes, so if we are Facebook friends, you'll see that. I definitely just love the power of word. So the one that I came up with was Louise Hay, and her comment was, or her quote was, "You've been criticizing yourself for years and it has worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens." And so the reason why I gave that quote is after every single video that I did, I went back and watched it. Like everyone will do that. If you do a Facebook Live, you're going to watch yourself. For me, I would listen to the power of my words. And so what I found in some of my first videos, you know, when I was showing you guys crystals and I was showing you like my ritual bath, I kept saying like, I know this is going to be weird to some people. It was almost like I was showing you guys like my soul, and I was showing you things I was passionate about, but then I was like giving you permission to judge it and think that I was weird, or think that, you know, that's not a normal practice, and not really like owning the fact that it's such a huge part of me. And so that was a big one. That was a huge epiphany, like hearing myself almost like shying away or stepping into the shadows of like who I truly am. So I learned a lot in that process. You know, one, I've shown you guys a lot of me. I've shown you a lot of my practices now. And so as I'm going through it, I can tell you today, I'm really comfortable day 14, like showing up and just speaking about this entire 14-day experience. But there were rocky parts for sure. Yesterday was a rocky part, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So, you know, I chose courage. I chose self-love. I acknowledged a lot of my passions, and I acknowledged a lot of my strengths. And then what happened for me going through that process is that I was able to have a lot of clarity. For me, just kind of seeing like, oh, this is how I got here. I have to give a lot of gratitude to my journey with Lyme Life. The reason why I say that is I wouldn't be doing this 14-day challenge had I not decided to be a beauty consultant. And like doing that and knowing that I had a group of women that supported me with showing up really has me doing this today. So there were little steps along the way that got me here. Deciding to do my own self-care practice and step away from like being of service to all my clients, making time for myself, having time for Lyme Life, deciding that I'm going to commit to myself and like expose myself on social media to the rest of the world. So that gave me a lot of clarity. It also like was a catalyst for me to finally launch my website. So that's KyanneKerbel.com. I'm not doing a plug because it's a work in progress, but this is a 14-day challenge. And so if I'm going to learn everything, it's going to be show up vulnerable, even if like you've got spelling mistakes and punctuation wrong or the wrong pictures. Life is a process, and you have to be willing to be a beginner. You have to be willing to be perfectly imperfect and make mistakes, and you just put yourself out there. So that's what I'm doing. And so instead of me like hesitating and waiting till I had everything absolutely right, I threw that out there today and I put that in my story for people to start checking that out. So I am going to talk to you guys about the pinnacle. So the pinnacle, the big turning point for me. And I think some people could look at it as a failure because my day 13, which I was like right at the end, I did a Facebook Live. I did it at like 5 minutes before midnight, and it was fumbly. Like it was really bad. I couldn't make eye contact with the camera. Like as I went back and watched it, I'm like, that's not me. I'm not showing up how I want to show up. It was true. I mean, that's how I felt in the moment, but it was really a shocker for me. And so like I was almost in this moment of panic of how do I not do a Facebook Live when I've posted on here pictures of my flower mandala and not jump on in enough time to make sure my live was done. And what ended up happening was I did do a recording that evening. I stayed up pretty late, but I made sure that I posted that. And for me, I felt happy with that. But that one was a huge pinnacle that I didn't see coming. Like I was already at the end of this journey. And so what happened with that is that I created my flower mandala, and you know, I did explain to you guys that's kind of like a really personal practice for me. It's something where if I need to just like check in and slow down and almost like detach myself from everything else that's going on in the world because I'm too stressed out or I'm too like overwhelmed, I will do a mandala practice. And sometimes it's on like 11/11. That was last year. That was kind of a transition point for me. Sometimes it's because I'm gifted flowers. So know that if you ever give me flowers, I'm going to cut them up for sure. And I'm probably going to create a flower mandala with it because I mean, they're absolutely beautiful and I love doing them. So again, I'm going to look up a quote. The one that I'm going to give you is from Maya Angelou. And it says, you can't use up your creativity. The more you use it, the more you'll have. And that was so true last night. So I was looking at my timeline because I was like posting pictures and trying to figure out what the heck happened. So I finished my mandala and I think I posted a picture at like 9 o'clock. Maybe it was a little earlier than that. I got my kiddos down. And so I want to say about 10 o'clock, I started like uploading some pictures saying that I was going to do a Facebook Live. And then that turned into me like going to Lightroom and adjusting the pictures and really just like watching this creative process by the pictures that I had taken. And then that led to me doing TikTok. And I'm really just giving you guys this like Pandora's box that happens for me when I do a mandala. So it's not something that, okay, I just did a mandala and I created something beautiful. It goes from like being gifted flowers, deciding to like appreciate how beautiful they are, and then cutting them up and knowing that I'm going to transform that beauty into something else. And I'm going to take each petal and I'm going to set it down with intention. And then I'm going to take each layer of that mandala and find beauty in it, whether it's the first couple flowers that are laid, or you guys probably saw my expansion of how the process went. And so I'm really zoned in when I'm creating a mandala. I sometimes forget about the beauty of the layers. And so when I do take pictures and I'm able to like go back and reflect on each layer and how beautiful each one is, and how, you know, just one simple flower can transform it. That's such a creative process. I really, really enjoy it. And so what happens for me is that I didn't want to do a Facebook Live. Like, I was at the end of my evening and I had done like a TikTok with Nora placing the first flowers down. And then what came up was my failures, or things that could be considered failures, and what I'll call my weaknesses in this 14-day journey. Number one, procrastination. So I waited. I did what I wanted to do. I was having fun. I was posting pictures, and like I got down to the very last hour and like I felt the pressure. Oh my gosh, you posted on here for people to pop on and check out your Facebook Live. How are you going to show up? You don't want to show up. That's not authentic. So all these waves of emotion happened, and I like truly got into my head. The other thing that popped up for me was I was having a difficult time with not being perfect. And all of these, I know I'm not perfect. I'm like able to show up and I just flow through the emotion and I tell you guys who I am and I show you who I am. I'm able to do lives much easier than I'm able to like articulate myself in words. And so I really loved finding this platform. But last night, it was almost the fact that I had like created this like anticipation for it, that I had gotten into my own head and my own heart. I didn't know how to show up for a live. Like, I couldn't make eye contact with the camera. And so it just didn't seem like me. What I ended up doing was recording it myself. And I will be honest with you, I probably started that recording, I don't know, 20 times. Started it. But I knew that I wanted to get it done. So I was up till like 2 o'clock in the morning trying to finish a Facebook Live. That's real and that's raw and that's absolutely vulnerable, just to get like basic words out. And then I realized like how much of a practice, how much of a sacred practice this actually is for me. Like, I really take it in. I've shared this practice with some of my clients, and I know some of them are on here. They've told me that they're watching them. So if you have seen a flower mandala, if I have created a flower mandala for you under the massage table that you can look through, know that that's a big thing for me. It's something that I do for myself. And so it's kind of us working together on our journey and your growth process, and then also my growth process when I decide to share a mandala with you. I'm fine with pictures, like that's awesome. But actually talking about the intention was a little bit more difficult for me. The black flower was a little bit difficult for me. It was something that I didn't know. And so I had hesitation with like being a beginner. You know, for me, I'm able to like look up a flower and find symbolism to it. And usually there's a direct attachment that happens right away that tells me, oh, this is why I use this particular flower. The black flower, it's sebaceous black knight. There was no meaning. There was no particular meaning behind that flower. It's also known as like the mourning widow. And so it's a really dark flower. And I had some hesitation just kind of putting that on there. I was really drawn to it. It's captivating. It's opened up this whole new realm of different plants that are really speaking to me right now. And I'm excited to like get seeds and plant them. And so that's a journey in itself. But last night, 2 in the morning or whatever, I wasn't able to process like the exact symbolism for this particular flower and what it meant. And going through that, I'm able to reflect back today and say, you know, I was trying to be perfect. You know, I wasn't okay with being imperfect and not knowing exactly the symbolism behind the flower, because I always know. And I was really attached to that journey. You know, I always know. And so that's why I had hesitation of showing up. So that's me. I mean, this has been a big one. I am going to continue to do, different Facebook Lives. I can think of a million different places like Fade Away Flotation Center and talking to you guys about sensory deprivation tanks, and different meditation practices and gong baths that I participate in and I really enjoy, and different forms of self-care. So you will see more videos from me. I want to share those practices. I mean, my brand is called Embrace Self-Wellness. And so for the last 10, 12 years, I have been on this journey of self-care and self-wellness, and knowing that it looks different to everybody. And so really having clarity in this journey, it's been, oh, this is why I'm doing this, is that this type of practice or a salt room might resonate with somebody else and might be something that they hadn't thought of, and hopefully it will be a beneficial practice to them. I mean, even if it's a flower mandala, somebody gives you flowers, you're not expecting it, you can watch them, shrivel up and wither and die and rot, or you can decide to, appreciate the time that you have with the flowers, and then before they actually die, create something beautiful with them, and appreciate each bit, and appreciate all the smells that go along with it, and then the beauty that comes from the flower. And in the process, you're creating something beautiful yourself that you would have just thrown in the garbage. And so if this was just part of planting seeds in other people, totally worth it. I will expose my vulnerabilities all day, every day. If there's a ripple effect, and this is what I'm hoping, people will decide that they want to show up for themselves and maybe just share your passions. Like, there's so many, whether it's music that really speaks to you, whether it's a meme that stopped you that day and you really resonated with it, pop on, talk to us. Don't just post the meme. I would love to see in your own words, how it resonated with you, why it resonated with you. Because I tell you, when you're talking and you're able to look back at yourself and kind of hear yourself speak, you will get a lot more information from the power of your word. I did. It's been amazing. So I did tell you guys a couple days that I wanted to extend the invitation. For me, I needed somebody to invite me to do a 14-day challenge. So I want to extend the invitation out to everyone else. If you would like to participate in a challenge, I'm gonna give you a couple different parameters than what I got. It's amazing and it's powerful. In fact, I'm gonna just kind of give you this. Out of all my recordings in the last 14 days, if we're just going off of likes, and likes, they're not everything. The one video that I did that got the most likes was my bracelet making video. And that was my day 2. And that was when I was supposed to come on and do a Facebook Live and teach you something that I didn't already know. I didn't know how to make those bracelets. I went to Joann Fabrics to make soap, wasn't expecting to make bracelets, but I got, more, I don't know, as much as you want to say likes from being a beginner and fumbling through something than I did, doing a bath ritual, which I've drawn up for many people and many clients before, or, kind of just showing you why I pick certain stones and really just kind of showing you the inside of me. Those ones were easy. Doing something that you're going to fumble with, not so easy, but the social media resonated with that a lot more. So if you're thinking about doing it, here's my point and reason. Know that it's okay to be a beginner, and going through the beginner's process, you will grow so much more. So 14 days is really tough. You will probably lose some gas, just trying to get through all of it. For me, it was timing, because I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. So making sure that I take care of family responsibilities and get them down and give them quality time, and then do a Facebook Live. I struggled with that a little bit, but still just doing it and showing up and carving out an hour or 15 minutes for yourself, well worth it. What I decided to do with my accountability challenge that I'm inviting you guys to do is I'm opening it up from now all the way till the end of December. So you have until the end of the year to decide what you'd like to do. I'm asking that whenever it works for you, whenever it fits into your schedule, you either commit to 7 days in a row or 14 days in a row. And what I'm going to do is I'll have you, post it on your page so that your people see it and you grow through the process. Your last day, I definitely want you to reflect on what you learned. Day 2, you're going to do something that you don't already know. So you guys already know what's going to happen. You already know this experience. And then all the days in the middle are just showing up as yourself, teaching us something that other people wouldn't know, something that you have a lot of knowledge on. So just kind of like finding your flow with that. So here's the deal. If you choose to do 7 days, I am going to do a random raffle at the end. If you do the 7 days, that will be like 1 vote for you. If you choose to do the 14 days, that's going to be 2 votes for you. And so just kind of putting that in there. At the end of it, I'm going to do a random drawing. Likely, I will still gift everybody that participates something because that's my love language. It's just giving gifts. So acts of service and giving gifts are my 2. And so anyone that chooses to do this, you would post it on your Facebook page and then you would share it to the group so that I can kind of keep track, okay, you've got 7 days. And also I can be there for you to root you on should you want to do it. I think it's been an amazing process. So you've got 2 ways to do it, 7 or 14. You start when you want to start. I'm not going to tell you when to start. If it's something you want to do, know that this is the end of the year. It's an end of a decade. For me, it's been a really powerful experience. So I honestly think everyone that would do something like this is going to show up a little bit more true, or they're going to learn something about themselves, or they're going to find a group of people that really resonate with them and their same passions. That's going to open up so many more doors. So again, love language is gift giving. So what I did is I created a small gift basket. This is what will be in this like raffle giveaway drawing at the end. I will pick 1 person. You get 1 vote or 1 kind of entry for 7 days, 2 for 14 days. But I have the clear quartz cluster. So this is the one that I showed you guys before. So this is going to be going into that gift basket. So you'll have a chance to actually win this guy. I have my Nurturing Oolong Tea Blend. So that's the one that I used in my bath ritual. So you're going to see a lot of things that I use in my own self-care practice because I treat others the way I want to be treated. I have a Bach Remedy. That's going to go in there. And this one's all about communication, showing up as yourself, and communicating your true feelings. So it's communicating your true feelings rather than hiding behind a cheerful face. So the real and the raw. Cedarwood candle. So this is the candle that I created. This one is strength. So you've got that in the strong cedarwood. And I have tons of Lime Life samples because again, this was like what started me on the journey. This is my catalyst that got me here and got me doing this and got me showing up and got me doing Facebook Lives, which is something that I wasn't normally doing. So I've got that in there as well. And then I also have a gift certificate to Inner Space to do one of their salt sauna sessions or one of their salt room sessions. So if you haven't done it already, that will be gifted to 1 person, this kind of huge array of things, and then small gifts to anybody that wants to do it. So 7 or 14, do it for you. Do not do it for anyone else. You cannot care about other people's opinions. For me, I think you guys have seen it. I've tried to show you some ripple effects. This mandala, I hadn't planned on doing a mandala. It showed up very organically, but it caused me to look back and see that I did a mandala on 11/11 last year. And I got to see my growth process of this like very expansive mandala to, really just kind of honing that craft and seeing everything brought in and the symmetry that had happened and kind of the changes within myself from creating mandalas to, really just finding that as a personal practice and then sharing it on social media for everyone else to see. So know that if you do something like this, you're also gifting yourself that ability to learn in the process and then reflect back on yourself a year from now, 5 years from now. It's all about intention, and see how much you've learned, how much you've changed, how much you've grown, maybe even like bursted through your shell and you've bloomed a completely different way just by showing up and being authentic and being you. So at all of these, I always say I really appreciate the accountability, but even more so, like, I just appreciate like old friends reaching out and letting me know that they've gotten inspiration from me, and then new friends that maybe it's a hashtag is how we found each other, and we've had like these really powerful conversations about intention and finding practices that they do and different self-care techniques. And so this is just gonna help me bloom and help me grow and help me show up in a whole new way. But I've been gifted a lot from you guys, so I thank you for that. It's been an awesome journey, and you will see me more often kind of showing up and showing you my self-care stuff. So if you would like to join the group, just DM me, let me know, and then I will link it back to you. Again, you guys know what to do, how to get the votes and how to get everything. So I would recommend it, but it has to be right for you and you have to be ready to do it. And then you have up until the end of the year to decide to make a change and show up a little bit different. So thank you guys. And like always, I hope you have a wonderful evening.